This is Buenos Aires, a city where history and modernity blend seamlessly. Imagine walking the streets surrounded by beautiful historical buildings from Argentina's past, or experience the grandeur of the world's largest boulevard, crowned by the iconic obelisco. Buenos Aires isn't just a destination, it's a narrative nestled into every street, every building, and every landmark. But most Americans probably don't even know this place exists. Let's explore the majesty of this beautiful city nestled within the La Plata River. The city is renowned for its cultural offerings, boasting over 150 theaters, 380 bookstores, and numerous art galleries and museums. This city is a treasure trove of experiences, but it didn't start as so. This is Plaza de Mayo, the historical and cultural center of Buenos Aires. In 1536, Pedro Mendoza would found this settlement in honor of Santa Maria del Buenar. This settlement would, however, be abandoned. Later on, in 1580, Juan de Garay would re-establish the city officially. If you look at the historical map of the city, you'll notice how it might be somewhat similar to other Latin American cities. Notice the many orthogonal city blocks. This is because Buenos Aires followed the Plano de Indias. The town's main square would be the Plaza de Armas, as it was known back then, surrounded by the Cabildo, the historical administrative center for the colonial government. The current Cabildo dates back to the 1940s, a reconstruction of the original building. Catedral Metropolitana is an architectural masterpiece, with its magnificent neoclassical facade featuring 12 columns, representing the 12 apostles that uphold the Catholic Church. Perhaps the most iconic building in Plaza de Mayo is Casa Rosada, but few know it wasn't always here. In the colonial days, a fort protected the city. However, by the 19th century, its use became antiquated. The city wanted to expand into the river to connect with the rest of the world. As so, the Aduana was built as the city's first extension into the Rio de la Plata. This building would serve as the gate to the city. Behind the Aduana sat two buildings, the Palace of Postal Service and the House of Government. These buildings would be later combined into one, with an arch in the middle, creating an interesting facade. Casa Rosada is the house of the executive branch of the Argentine government. The Aduana would be demolished, but some remnants can be visited to this day. Inside the Casa Rosada Museum, you'll see remnants of the arches of the old Aduana. You might also peek into Argentina's rich history. The city's architecture is not just a reflection of European influences, but a testament to its own rich and eclectic heritage. But Buenos Aires was about to embark on a journey of transformation. You might remember the city was founded under the Plano de Indias with orthogonal city blocks. However, Buenos Aires wanted to be a world-class city, spreading its influence beyond Latin America. For this, the city would build two diagonal streets. Both were originally intended to connect two important monuments. Today, one leads to the obelisk and eventually to the Palace of Justice. However, if you take a look at the other diagonal, well, today it leads to nowhere, but it was originally envisioned to go a bit further. Another street would also cut through one of the old blocks. This would be Avenida de Mayo, leading to the National Congress. This avenue is the most beautiful in the city to this day, with giant trees and beautiful architecture. Buenos Aires was becoming the Paris of the South. While many tourists might just look at Buenos Aires as a discount version of Paris, there's more to it. In the 19th century, Paris was becoming a city of order with the Haussmann plan. The buildings were part of a larger scheme, all had a similar height. However, here in Buenos Aires, things are a little bit different. Each building feels like its own little palace. Some buildings here are also taller than what you do find in Paris. As so, the crowning of the building is larger, so you have two stories there. This is a great example of Latin American creativity. A great example of Buenos Aires' familiar yet unique architecture is the Molino Café. This building takes many visual cues from windmills, but applies them using Art Nouveau motifs. The National Congress is another landmark in the city, functioning as the focal point of Avenida de Mayo. This beautiful neoclassical building features a massive bronze dome on top. The plaza near the Congress is also a destination in its own right. Here visitors can spot different architecture landmarks, from the neo-colonial architecture that celebrates the country's past to the neoclassical and Beaux Art buildings. By the early 20th century, Argentina became a destination for many migrants around the world, mainly Italians. Thousands of families traveled a long and treacherous journey to find a new home. One building that highlights this rich history is located right in Avenida de Mayo. Welcome to the Palacio Barolo, where architecture intertwines with the verses of Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy. Luis Barolo, the visionary behind the Palacio Barolo, was himself a product of this Italian immigration wave. Barolo envisioned the Palacio as a tribute to his cultural heritage and that of Dante Alighieri. From its 9 vaulted accesses that mirror Dante's 9 circles to the grandeur of its 22 floors, echoing the 22 stanzas of the Commedia. Every detail whispers of a meticulous homage to the poet's journey. Latin inscriptions adorn its walls, a testament to the enduring dialogue between literature and architecture. As you ascend through its levels, envision the Palacio Barolo not just as a building, but as a narrative unfolding, a testament to Dante's journey through the Divine Comedy, where each architectural element embodies layers of meaning and metaphor. Our journey begins in Hell, represented in the Palacio Barolo as its first floors. Here, the architecture might evoke a sense of darkness and confinement. Here, grotesque statues reflect the horrific views of hell. Moving higher, one reaches Purgatory, the state where the souls cleanse themselves of sin before ascending to paradise. In the Palacio Barolo, this transition is marked by a gradual change, a symbolic journey of self-reflection, spiritual growth, and many stairs. Finally, at the summit of the Palacio Barolo, one arrives at heaven, a realm of harmony, beauty, and enlightenment. Here, the architecture transcends earthly confines, offering panoramic views of Buenos Aires and the Rio de la Plata. It is at this point where you reflect on your journey from the dark depths of hell, the essentialness of purgatory, and the beauty of heaven. The Teatro Colón, the grand jewel of Buenos Aires' cultural heart. Each night, under its gilded ceiling adorned with celestial frescoes, the Teatro Colón casts its spell, timeless ode to the city's passion for the performing arts. Right next to Colón sits a neoclassical marvel, Escuela Presidente Roca. This school is a landmark in itself, envisioned as a temple of knowledge. Another highlight of Buenos Aires' eternal beauty is Plaza San Martín. This large square provides beautiful views onto the city's spectacular architecture, such as Edifício Cavanaga. With its rationalistic Art Deco design, this skyscraper stands as a testament to Buenos Aires forever reinventing itself through the ages, a beacon of innovation and elegance amidst the ever-evolving cityscape. Nearby you also find one of the city's most beautiful train stations, Retiro. Marked outside by the Torre Monumental, this train station harmoniously intertwines light and architecture in a spectacular display. Here you'll find perhaps the most beautiful Burger King in the world. As Buenos Aires grew into a bustling metropolis, the need arose for a swift and efficient way to move its people from point to point amidst the expanding urban landscape. Thus, the subte was born. In 1913, Argentina made history by becoming the first country in Latin America to inaugurate an underground subway system. To this day, traveling on the older subte lines feels like traveling back in time, from the old wall tiles to the beautiful ironwork. As you ride through the subterranean tunnels, you embark on a journey through Buenos Aires' past and present, where history echoes through every station. As Buenos Aires embraced the 20th century, it embarked on another era of transformation. Similar to the United States, Buenos Aires would be transformed to welcome the automobile, but Buenos Aires would do it in its own way. Let's take a look at an old map of Buenos Aires. Building a massive boulevard here can be a challenge. The way this would be approached would be quite destructive. The plan would be to carve a grand boulevard where once stood the city's historic blocks. At the center of this would be Obelisk, or Obelisco in Spanish, located at the encounter of Avenida 9 de Julio and the Diagonal. It creates a focal point for the city. You can see in early photos of the obelisk the blocks that would be later demolished to build Avenida 9 de Julio. Traces of these remnants still endure to this day. First is the French embassy and a Four Seasons hotel. These were slated for demolition, but public outcry spared them from being forgotten. The other building to survive is Edificio MOP. However, the most destructive aspects of these ambitious plans manifested in the construction of highways and monumental projects, such as the Nudo Vial in Constitución. This urban intervention carved a division to the heart of the city, slicing through blocks and devastating many landscapes. These highways now cut through the city. But even in these hostile environments, one can still find life. But Buenos Aires is a city forever reinventing itself. As Buenos Aires forever grew, it expanded into the Rio de la Plata. Some docklands would be built and constructed by Eduardo Madero. However, just 10 years after being inaugurated, they became obsolete. As so, this place would sit forgotten and neglected. Even worse, the city lost its connection with the river from which it was born. The city needed to find a way to redevelop this parcel of land. The city would transform those old industrial warehouses into trendy restaurants and bars on ground floors where locals and tourists alike can enjoy culinary delights and nightlife. Above, the upper levels house sleek hotels, modern apartments, and dynamic business, creating a bustling community that never sleeps. This redevelopment has not only brought new life into the architecture but also fostered a sense of community and innovation. The cobblestone streets now bustle with activity, from expensive restaurants lining the waterfront to the city's tallest skyscrapers. These tall buildings are home to the city's wealthiest residents. This area continues to expand with more avant-garde architecture. The highlight of Puerto Madero might seem simple, but it's a symbol of the city forever reinventing itself. Puente de la Mujer was designed by famed architect Santiago Calatrava, a blend of the city's cultural legacy of tango with a sleek design that unites both sides of Puerto Madero. Another highlight is the historic vessel Presidente Sarmiento. Puerto Madero to this day remains a testament to Buenos Aires' ability to reinvent itself while honoring its historical roots. While tango is undoubtedly an integral part of Buenos Aires' identity, the city's cultural landscape extends far beyond the dance floors. Buenos Aires is a thriving metropolis where history, art, architecture, and innovation converge to create a rich tapestry. The city is home to many museums, from art to design. Visitors and tourists can immerse themselves in the city's rich history. If you want to check out the history of Argentina, be sure to visit the Museu Histórico Nacional. Here you can learn about the May Revolution and the subsequent War of Independence. Buenos Aires is also a culinary capital, where traditional Argentine cuisine meets international influences. Palermo is home to some of the city's most prominent art spaces, including the Museo de Arte Latino-Americano de Buenos Aires. The neighborhood's streets themselves serve as open-air galleries by local and international artists. Buenos Aires is a city that defines expectations. It's a place where history is woven into the fabric of everyday life, where every street corner has a hidden architectural marvel, a place that forever reinvents itself. Buenos Aires is one of those incredible places where you can wander and explore every street corner, finding beautiful buildings, from its rich history and cultural depth to its modern innovations and vibrant communities. Buenos Aires is a city that captivates the heart and ignites the imagination. As we fly out towards the clouds, we take a last peek into the amazing city, remembering all our past adventures and all the incredible experiences we saw. Here is to the next 100 years of this amazing city.